Cowboy was
Go.
on this
Okay.
week.
We're Mr. Sci-Fi is back on. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to interrupt, but just to let everyone know.
Go ahead.
So no, Mr. Sci-Fi is just back up. I don't think there's anyone on it at the moment because we've been, but keep an eye on it, whoever can, to see if there's a question at any point. But please go on, Carol.
Okay, not real important. Midnight Cowboy was on this week, and I didn't realize it won Best Movie when it came out.
Yes.
I thought it was just some rapscallion movie about two kind of crazed out ragamuffins. But it's really an amazing film. And actually, present day, it's a comment on homeless.
Yes. Well, the thing that's amazing is it was rated X when it came out.
That's what someone told me.
And it would be
X-rated film to win Best Picture.
It'd be like a soft R now.
Right?
Yeah.
And John Boyd, I mean, we all know Bratzo was amazing, but John Boyd played this luggy Texan. He was amazing.
He's great.
I don't know how he auditioned that. So I don't know. I just saw it this week and just thought I'd throw it out.
Sure.
I feel like a charlatan because I'm calling myself an actress, but my agent doesn't send me out, of course, for our own reasons, and I'm not going to audition. So I feel like a charlatan, but I just had to say that to get it off my chest. Because I hate when people say they're such and such, and they're not. Give me a break. I feel like I'm in one of those categories, but I'm trying not to be. Yeah. So, gracias anyways. David, you could store stuff in my backyard, feel free, but it's open. I mean, there's not a garage or something. If you had a tarp or
great.
But if you ever needed to store stuff, you can use it.
Sounds great.
I would love to check that out. That's a very strong possibility.
Absolutely. Just give me a call, sure.
That sounds great.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just finished a first draft of a horror film.
Oh, wow. Great. Congratulations.
Thank you. It poured out of my fingers.
Yes.
Just I let it go. I just let it. And I think that's what creativity is, just like let it go.
That's great.
But I handed it to my friend who's going to put it in final draft because I don't want to deal with that. And he said, my handwritten copy was 207 pages, which would make it about 100 and I don't know yet. But he said they shouldn't be any more than 100 pages.
Well,
do you agree with that?
No.
That's from the olden times.
110 is good. 120 is okay. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it until it's typed up. See what you've got.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. What else did I want to say for as a budget? Careful of this Omicron thing. My family's yelling at me, don't go out. And they're scientists, so I'm biting my nails and listening.
Sure.
But please be careful. And again, Mark and Elaine, I want to thank you so much for giving this to us, particularly right now when we really should be convening, except for being with you on Thursday nights. So it's really taken a lot of more repercussions than you thought. So really, muchas gracias from all of us.
Sure, you bet. 3 cheers. Thanks, Carol. So are there any Mr. Sci-Fi questions, David? I don't think so.
We're in the chat. I'm looking at people's entries and stuff, but not quite yet.
I think people, I don't see anybody on here, but that's okay. So good. So let's see who's next. Bonnie, I guess you're next.
No.
Okay. Just mostly hanging in as the VP and just finding it very, very interesting and talking to a lot of interesting people. It's just a completely different experience. It's very enriching, very growing experience, and glad to be doing it.
Cool.
So keeping me busy and all, and pretty much it.
Okay.
Well, that's great, though.
Well, great. So it's just
a whole new life experience.
Yes.
Well, it's not quite
very much so. I've been in a lot of different organizations. Mostly I'll be like secretary, take the minutes or something.
Right.
Being vice president, I'm really dealing more with the members, and we'll be doing bargaining and just all kinds of things. And just finding that my years of being involved and being on the board and all, I really have a lot of knowledge that really helps me in this position. So they said I was right for it, and they're right.
That's great. And how do you like the vice presidential plane?
Plane? Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
I know there's I know there's perks, definitely.
It's funny is because you say that because, of course, as you know, I know that, of course, the union was on Vine Street for 67 years. But
wow.
Hey, we're right across the street from Burbank Airport. So, very
Wow.
convenient.
That's great. That's great. So anything else, Bonnie? Anything you need?
No, I guess just wishing everybody happy holidays and
Great.
yeah.
Great.
So-
3 cheers. Yay, Bonnie Janowski,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen.
Joe wants me to just say today is Beethoven's birthday.
Yes, well, yes,
Aw.
exactly. And the response to that is what? So
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, by the way, so my birthday was Monday.
yay, 3 cheers.
My birthday week. Too.
Yeah, great, great. Well, congratulations. So so are there any Mr. Sci-Fi questions yet?
No, it looks like they're having a similar problem to the one that we did,
Huh.
but they're working it out. They're trying to work it out.
Well, I
Judith
see. I actually am seeing questions here, David. So maybe you're not on the right feed. Someone's asking any reactions to Villeneuve's Rama announcement. I guess he must have announced that he's going to direct Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama.
I
Well,
don't have that.
yeah. Well,
I have Zicree Live started streaming 13 minutes ago.
no,
what I'm
that's the
on,
old
so-
one. That's the wrong one. If you might want to restart Mr. Sci-Fi and just get on the current one. The way you'll know it's current is because I'm talking on it. So
Well, I figured that much.
yeah, but so Rendezvous with Rama, to answer the question, it's one of Arthur C. Clarke's memorable novels. It's about it's funny when they had all that stuff going on about Oumuamua coming into our solar system. Does someone have their mic open?
That was me.
Okay.
That was me. Okay now.
But there was the question whether it was a spaceship from another system or what it was. Well, in Rendezvous with Rama, a vast sort of it's this vast empty space ship is going through our solar system. We only have a brief time to study it, and before it's gone. And it's a very cool book. It's a little bit observational. There's not, there aren't really characters they encounter per se, so it's a little arid, but it would, he's definitely a good director to take that on. It's a massive project, massive visual effects, so we'll see what he does. So let's see, next on my screen is the inimitable Mark Agushowitz.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Trying to keep my face covered because I did a Santa Claus on last Saturday, and I don't know who wore the beard before me, but me and the guy who gave it to me had a major talk. My face is now totally breaking out.
Uh-huh.
Oh dear.
Well,
My face never breaks out, not even when I was a teenager.
wow.
So it just looks like I'm bleeding all over the place.
Or maybe it's just second,
Anyway.
maybe it's second puberty.
Don't want to go through that again unless it reverses, because being a kid was so much easier.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, so I've been really busy. I'm an editor. I've been really busy. For half this meeting, you probably saw me on the phone because I got a client who won't leave me alone.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's okay because they're paying me, and so they can do whatever they want because they pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that. I'm working on Space Command. I'm clocking in like 10 hours with Adobe, talking about on the phone. But at this point, I think that the problem kind of partially solved itself because they didn't do anything. But then one day I turn on the computer and I'm not really having all the issues anymore.
That's great.
So I've exported 2 more things for Space Command because I'm tired and I want to look at them before I send them to you. You'll probably get those tomorrow instead of tonight.
Yeah.
It's the screen test and the Mira Furlan tribute.
Great. Terrific.
I saw that you had approved one of the things, so I moved it into a file on my computer.
Yeah, I was looking for any.
And then by the end of this weekend, I will be getting you 3 more trailer clips with the music under the opening.
Great.
And if you can get me that 1-minute intro to Ian McKay,
Sure.
I can work on that. Otherwise, I'm moving forward with the Comic Cons, and that includes going to the Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube site and looking for stuff. Because I want to put a little montage at the beginning of you guys at Comic Con, like at your booth and stuff.
Sounds great.
Mark, I don't know if you've had it before, but I uploaded something to your new upload folder, Kamikaze 2015.
No, I do not have that, and that would be awesome. One more. The more you give me, the better.
Yeah, it's a little bit piecemeal, but check it out. See what you can do with it.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm fast forwarding through those and looking for little sound bites, everything Dave Edison gives me. But when I ask him for stuff like, hey, can you give me some stuff of them at the booths and stuff? I think it'll be a lot easier for me, for him, if I can give him names of what all that is.
Yeah,
So
and also one thing I would suggest, Mark, is just do a search on Mr. Sci-Fi. I mean, it's you can search keywords, and so if you search like the word signing, a lot of videos will come up, because in some cases it might be something that Dave didn't necessarily post, but I did. And so so that might be
something that you renamed.
Yes, it's very possible. Yes. And
yeah,
so
I actually was only looking at Comic-Con. I didn't think about signings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I'll definitely do that.
Right.
And obviously anything that Dave has, he'll send me higher res. If not,
yes.
As long as they're at 1080 and I can download them, I'll see. They're only going to be on the screen for like a second in this montage.
Sure.
So they
sure.
be fine.
Sounds good.
So yeah. So I haven't been putting as much hours as I want because all my work, but I think it's moving okay. I've got the grab bag timeline's also built, but I don't know how long it can be until I finish the Comic-Con.
Okay.
So,
great.
So we're working on that the best we can, and still trying to get another review up on my website.
So
and it's weird because I talk to people and they're like, Mark, don't worry about it because I'm offering this free service.
Right.
So don't stress out about it. Just get it up when you can and don't let it go completely forgotten.
Yes.
So I'm trying to do that.
Good. And I had a question for you. I tried to search for the items you had sent me to approve, and the only one I was able to find was the one on the deleted and extended scenes. So if you want to send me whatever else you're waiting for me to approve, please do, because I'm not.
Let me do this. Tomorrow I'll send you the two that I have.
Good.
And then on Sunday, hopefully by Sunday or Monday, when I send the trailers up again,
great,
I'll send you links for everything.
Okay, cool.
And it'll just be one email with links for everything. The reason I don't want to do that tomorrow is because I want to keep moving forward.
Sure.
And what I'll also send you is all the notes that I had in the emails. I'll compile those into the
Great.
one email as well.
Great.
Because there were certain
good.
notes like, hey, check this out. Are you okay with this? You okay with that?
Mm-hmm. Great.
And so I'll and then a couple of other things have come up since then, like maybe we should shorten the intro to trailer 1, but that'll be up to you. You might like everything that's in there. So yeah, I'll do that with when I send those 3 links to the trailers, just everything.
Great.
Cool. And then I'm trying to think what else. My brain's half fried.
Okay, well that's fine. You can
no sleep right now. And,
that's fine.
When you do watch them, just check for everything. Make sure it all sounds good. It all looks good.
Sure.
Check because you guys are. Once you approve it, I'm never looking at it again. I've already seen it 150 times.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If I'm lucky, that's all I've seen. I don't even watch my short film anymore because I've seen it 1,000,000 times.
Yes, I understand. So anything else, Mark?
I think that's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I don't think so. Not at least offhand. I've just been really busy, and I'm grateful for the business because we went a long time without a lot of business because of COVID and all that. And so everything that comes my way that's paid, I'm grateful for.
Great. Well, mazel tov. Yay. 3 cheers. Good. Anything else?
I recommended something to Mark because he's such a Muppets fan. There's a show on Disney Plus. You folks over at Mr. Sci-Fi might like this as well, called Prop Culture. And it's about a half-hour show. There's maybe 8 episodes. And this guy goes looking for the props from Tron, Nightmare Before Christmas. What else is in there? The Muppet movie, and a whole bunch of fan favorites. So it's worth checking out if you've got Disney Plus.
Great. That's great. Well, thank you. Yay. So I noticed there's a question on Mr. Sci-Fi where they're basically saying, would I suggest that Rama focus on the ship or on the political issues of the time?
I've got this up now. I can see them all now.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. So, the real challenge with any science fiction film is that you want the sense of wonder, but you also want to engage with the characters. And usually, if a film fails, a science fiction film, it's because one of those two doesn't work or both of them don't work. The most important, of course, is engaging with the characters, because if you don't care about the people, it's just pretty pictures. And that's not to say that there aren't some films I look at just for the pretty pictures, but but Rendezvous with Rama will present a challenge in its adaptation, but that's not to say don't do it. So there, and also Jeff, thanks for your kind words on Space Commando and the Twilight Zone Companion. The new edition of the Twilight Zone Companion just came out recently, and I recommend it because it's got 100 new pages, 500 new photos, links to audio and video. Cool stuff. So great. So let's see. So Dave, you've had your turn. And so I guess it's now Elaine. It's wonderful, Elaine. Go for it, Elaine. Yay.
Oh, just before it's me,
Oh, no.
were there any questions that needed a Mark answer?
Or an Elaine answer?
When we were gone?
Before I do that,
Uh-oh.
Judith had a surprise for you guys. She's
Oh, good.
on camera right now, but she had a surprise. There she is.
Oh, there she is.
I want to tell you now.
Okay, what's your surprise, Judith?
Surprise, Judith?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, unmute.
She's eating.
She's having a nosh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, we can wait until later. That's fine. It's a little funky.
Mr. Sci-Fi.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
I went to turn over my chicken. You
Mhm.
know what the surprise is. I told you this morning.
Oh, okay.
I called you. I'm walking. Yes,
Great.
indeed.
Great.
And I'm available for work now. My voice
Good.
is back.
Great.
So that's great.
Mazel
I'm
tov.
also, you've got me, I'm having a New Year's party.
Oh, good.
So anybody who would love to come, I'd love to see you. It's been a horrendous year. I want to kick it to the curb and have a good time ushering the new year in.
Okay.
So give me a buzz and let me know
Great.
so I can take a head count, so I know how much wonderful food I'm going to cook.
Great. Cool. Well, 3 cheers. Yay. Okay, so now with no further ado, it's Elaine. Wonderful Elaine. Another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
To answer Elaine's question,
Yeah.
have either of you ever considered starting a podcast?
Well, Mr. Sci-Fi sort of is that, so it's that's as far as I'm going to go toward doing a podcast. I mean, at various times I've done, like David Simpkins and I did one a few years ago where we interviewed people who were like showrunners, and you can probably still find that if you Google Zicree Simpkins podcast.
Yeah, it's still up. It's pretty great.
It is. It's extremely great, and it's the greatest thing ever. And but so yeah, that's.
I didn't say that.
Now also,
it's pretty great.
Yeah, there you go. Scott Gamble is asking about anyone hear of the Orson Welles oriented Voodoo Macbeth. He says, I hear it's making the rounds at the film festivals. I don't know if it's making the rounds. I mean, if that would have to be there's a clip of it that's been shot, but it was a stage production he did very early in his career when he was in his early 20s. He directed it, and the idea was basically to cast it entirely with Black actors and set Macbeth, in sort of like Haiti. And it was a huge hit. And of course, now that we have Denzel Washington doing Macbeth, probably that's what brought that subject to the front. As far as I know, I don't think there's a recording of the entire piece, but I have seen the clip that I know is extant. And it's interesting, but it really doesn't capture the thrill of being there in person. It's because it's a stage play, so they're being very big in what they're doing, and but I can really see how it was so non-traditional that it would really take things by storm, and I'm glad it did. I'm glad Orson Welles rose to prominence. He deserved it. So go ahead, Elaine. It's your turn. Yay!
Sorry for being late.
It's
Mark
Elaine.
was have to drive me for an X-ray thing
For the doctor. Yeah.
The doctor, but I'm all good.
Yes.
And which is good news.
Yes.
And, yeah. Right now we're just trying to rev up.
Michael Tabb.
Rev up for more shooting.
Yes.
And have a happy Christmas.
Is there anything you need?
Better shoulders. I need less bum shoulders. Yes.
Yes.
But beyond that, it's lovely to have the holidays, and I'm sorry that COVID is creeping back, but it's still lovely to have all of you guys and be able to have a little bit of celebration after all this kind of dark time.
Come to my house.
Okay.
Yay.
Great. 3 cheers.
Yay.
So I see that Michael Tabb has joined us. Do you want to take your turn, Michael? There you are.
I have a turn.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a turn?
Yes.
I love a good turn.
Yes.
How are you, everybody?
Good.
Michael Tabb, WGA screenwriter, SAG actor, and best thing that happened to me recently is I just 3 films that I acted in were in the brand new Santa Clarita International Film Festival.
How fun.
And I got to go see myself on a giant screen, which is it's just a great feeling to watch yourself in bigger than life. And it's fun. Just such a hoot. And I play kind of big body characters. So
that's great.
It's fun to see that on a giant screen. I just got back to LA from writing I was working for developing an animated TV show for somebody in Indiana.
Wow.
And another guy, another pilot, which is a modern day crime show set in Washington, D.C. that intersects with politics.
Cool.
And that's for a guy in North Carolina, producer there. Good WGA gig, very happy.
Mm-hmm.
As always, my dream is I have a small script I wrote, takes place in California, in LA, and it's a college years movie, kind of like The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in a beach house, and one day I want to make it so bad it hurts. And I think technology's gotten to a place where I'm kind of an idiot for not just grabbing a camera and casting it.
Yes.
But I am that idiot.
Yes.
So
yes. Well, and again,
so that's everything.
Yeah, and again,
that's everything in a nutshell.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. Hello.
Well, in terms of shooting your piece, I mean, the table exists for that purpose. I mean, there's people in every capacity. There's DPs and sound guys and tons of actors and all sorts of stuff. So this is something where if the real thing that determines if something will get shot is a start date. More than anything else, it's just a start date.
And it's a Christmas movie, so it'd be easy to get all the lighting together right now.
Yes. And again, as you say, with cameras being so inexpensive, I would see. The thing is, what really determines whether something will exist or not exist is shooting it. Once you've shot it, then the challenges are simply post-production, but it exists. Until you shoot it, it's just smoke in the air. And
it just seems so stupid I haven't done it, but it takes place. The whole thing is supposed to take place in this beautiful beach house.
Yeah.
And that costs a lot of money.
Not necessarily. What you would do is you would start by putting, if you're on the table email, you just put a word out saying, does anyone know of a really nice beach house that I can have for almost nothing for a such and such shoot? And someone may pop up and say, yeah, I just have that thing just sitting there. Sure, you can have it for like a week or two. I mean, that kind of stuff happens.
Does that really happen?
Yes.
I see a lot of requests on I haven't put any in yet.
Yes. Well, for instance, to give you an idea of how fluid all of this is, if you watch the pilot, the first hour of Space Command, there's one sequence where Jack goes back to his parents' home, and it's this magnificent, handmade, vast craftsman house. And the guy who built it and owns it, he let us shoot there for a day for one copy of my Guillermo del Toro book. That was it.
Awesome.
And so that's like, I signed the book and we got that incredible set, that incredible location. And so, so I would not, so they once asked, who was it? They asked some famous filmmaker of Tim Burton. They said, what's the secret of your success? And he said, I don't stop myself. And I think that's a great piece of wisdom. And so, so if I were you, I would just, close your eyes with a pin, put a pin in a calendar, and then rock and roll.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I know you're right, Mark, because you're always right.
Yes, it's true. It's true. That Elaine says that all the time.
You are wisdom, sir.
Yes. But you'll feel so much better. But use the table. That's why it exists. We have thousands of members. Everybody knows somebody who's got something that they can, utilize. I mean, Carol was just offering us her backyard to put stuff in, and we may be getting what was it called? The containment chamber from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is that right? Anyway, and it's free. If we get it, we'll get it for free.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
it's really big.
It's not that big, David. I mean, I've seen
big.
Well, it's that you are the voice of negativity, and I am the voice of positivity. So there we go.
He's setting a date, damn it. He's setting a date.
Yes,
that is absolutely not true. You're the voice of fantasy, and I'm the voice of reality.
Well, we can have that conversation off screen.
He writes great fantasy.
Yeah.
Have you seen those sci-fi shows he writes?
Yes.
Is the containment chamber foldable in any way?
Only with great determination.
If you imagine a small apartment that's about 12 feet by 20 feet by 9 feet high that has little fantasy corners on it with glass all around and weighs probably a ton, no.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But on the other hand, as people need places to live, it'll come in very handy. So, okay. So anyway, but that's a whole side issue. We don't have to deal with that yet. So is there anything else you need, Michael?
I just wish you all an amazing, beautiful holiday season filled with love and joy, eggnog and whiskey.
Yes.
Because that's what I like.
Mazel tov. Also, one last thing in terms of your acting, if you put together a reel, post it on the Table website, send out an email, to everyone, because they're always casting stuff, and a lot of it is SAG signatory if you're in SAG, and it's a great way to add variety to one's reel, and so forth. So there you go.
That sounds great.
Yeah, cool.
I definitely. I have a friend trying to cut me a reel now. He says he's been cutting me a reel for several months.
Great, that's funny.
He has 5 different films that I was in with different clips, and hopefully he'll just do it.
That's great. That's great. Well, yeah, and I look forward to seeing it when it's put together. So, well, it's good to have you here as always. So great. 3 cheers, Michael Tabb, ladies and gentlemen. Yay. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David Bartlett?
There's one last added bit about Rama.
Okay.
I feel like it has to add character depth, which makes it less like the book. Some people get bothered by that. What say you? That is, by the way, fit to be read. Sorry about that.
It's just I'll see it when I see it. I mean, I liked Blade Runner 2049. I'm less enthusiastic about Dune, Denis Villeneuve's Dune, simply because I don't really cue into the character. I find Timothée Chalamet, I just want to kick sand in his face, and so it's like, Jesus Christ, fuck. But so Villeneuve for me is very hit and miss, and but very talented. So let's see what he does with Rendezvous with Rama. It'll be good, bad, or indifferent.
But it is important to remember that whether it's a book or a film, they hit us emotionally in a very different way.
They do.
And they have very different demands in terms of the way that they communicate with their audience.
Well said. Go ahead.
And, deep and philosophical and internal are not the stuff of films. The stuff of films are immediacy and the emotional content, and how we relate to it personally.
Yes.
So it's not just, I hate it because it's changed. You have to say, well, if I'm going to adapt from one form to another, to really look at what are the strengths of the different forms and what can they really do best, and what is it that most attracts you toward that piece. But some things are not adaptable.
No.
And if you just keep them as they are, they're going to be terribly boring.
Well, yeah, you can't just literally adapt a movie. The only exception to that was the Maltese Falcon, but but still, there's a wide variety of science fiction movies that do work. The Donald Sutherland Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a rather cold and austere film in its way, but it's still great. 2001 also has that same kind of quality of distance and austerity, but it's one of my favorite films. So that's my 2 cents on that. So now it's me, wonderful me, yay! 3 cheers. Okay, so things are busy. All of you know that I finished my new book, Greenlighting Yourself. It's off with my publishers, so I'm probably going to do the reading of the audiobook. It's the only one of my books that I've been tempted to do that with, but it's so much first person. It's so much about my life and that of my friends that I think it would be well served by that. And then there's one acting experiment that Elaine wrote, and so she would read that part, and so that'd be very, very fun. It'd be like having a guest star in my book, and so I have to just run it by my publisher and see who has what rights. In terms of interesting things, many of you know I produced the Twilight Zone Blu-ray set, and in the contract there were bumps. There were $10,000 bonuses at 65,000 unit sales and 75,000 unit sales because they thought it would never sell that many copies. Well, it hit 65,000, and Image, who had licensed it, paid me that 10 grand bonus, and then the rights reverted back to CBS. And the contract didn't specify that anyone that it reverted to would still owe me that bonus, but I just got to thinking about it. So I reached out to CBS, and it turns out they're going to pay me the 10 grand bonus. So, because it turns out that the lawyer they have is a fan of the Twilight Zone Companion. So that's really great. Free money. And beyond that, Space Command is moving along great. We're going to have it finished by January with the first 2 hours with 1,800 visual effect shots, full orchestral score, everything. And we're going to ship that as a digital download. And we're doing all the extras with Mark Gushewitz and Dave helping out on that stuff. And David Bartlett is doing many tasks on Space Command right now, including fulfillment of many of the perks, which we're knocking down one at a time and getting very near the end of that, which is, boy, we'll lift a toast on that one. And beyond that, we are actively now shooting the next hour of Space Command. We've shot hour 3. We've started shooting hour 4. And we're going to ramp up. We're doing a test shoot in January for one weekend. So we're building a futuristic hospital set made out of the consoles I bought from Cloverfield Paradox and a med pod that I'm buying from the movie Passengers. And so it's incredible to get this stuff for pennies on the dollar because they cost enormous amounts to make and to build. I just bought a spaceship console from Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes that's really cool, and a cloning chamber from Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams. It just keeps going, and two spacesuits from Europa Report. And so that takes our count up to 15 or 17 or something like that. We have to do a count of how many we have now between the ones from Aliens and Death Ship and Outland and Star Trek and so forth. Speaking of Star Trek, by the way, there's a terrific exhibit at the Skirball of props and costumes and set pieces from all the different iterations of Star Trek. And it's really worth going to. I did a Mr. Sci-Fi tour of it a few days ago, but seeing them in person is really, if you're at all a fan of any of the iterations of Star Trek, it's really well worth going to see. And then also beyond that, so we're working on Space Command. We're ramping up to shoot not just the next hour, but the entire season moving forward into 2022. We're meeting with agents and managers at CAA and Zero Gravity now. Guillermo del Toro and J.J. Abrams and others were kind enough to recommend me to their representation. And we're working on the Showrunners Network. So that's the other 5 shows, Rod Serling's After Twilight, Fugitive Space, Magic Time, and Dante Station, and Sweet Haven, the show we're creating with Rockney O'Bannon, and Space Command. That's 6. So it's a slate of 6 shows, and it's going really well. And beyond that, last night I went to a screening of Nightmare Alley, where Guillermo was going to be answering questions. And of course, many of you know that I wrote a book with Guillermo. So it was really fun because at the end of his asking questions, as he was heading off, I said hi to him and he gave me a big hug. And I brought something for him to sign, which is a first edition of Nightmare Alley. This is from 1946, and it has a photo of the author on the back. And Guillermo not only signed the cover page. Here's Guillermo's. Let's see if I can get the light on it. There we go. There's Guillermo's signature, but also his wife and co-writer, his new wife and co-writer Kim, signed it as well. And I had a nice long talk with her, and she's really great. And we're going to follow up and see about getting together. And so we'll see how that all goes. But I don't know. So that's, another slow week. What else, Elena? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I don't think so.
No. So we've got our Christmas tree up, and we're looking forward to the holidays. And
the movie was.
It was very good. I highly recommend the original with Tyrone Power. We just watched it. It's free in its entirety on YouTube, so you can actually watch it without paying anything for it. It's actually great. It's really a great film. And Guillermo's film is very, very different from the Tyrone Power version, but equally effective. If you like noir, it's a really good movie. The cast is spectacular. It's, as you know, it's Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, David Strathairn, on and on. I mean, just really, sterling. Toni Collette, and Guillermo's visual design sense is, incredibly lush. And and it's the first time he's ever done film noir. And yet it's still very much a Guillermo film. I enjoyed it. It's not something that I'm ever going to watch again and again, but I really admired it. And I've started reading the novel because the guy who wrote it was really a troubled individual. And so if you're interested in carnivals and alcoholism and so forth, this is the book for you. What else? That's kind of the main stuff, I mean.
John PC.
Oh, John PC is here. Are you there, John? Are you there, or are you just listening in? If you're there, you can take your turn whenever you like. We're going to be wrapping it up shortly, but or you can just listen and gain wisdom and become.
He stopped by earlier, but I couldn't get the audio connected.
Yeah, well, then he can just listen now and become an enlightened being or whatever. The levitate, so forth, glow in the dark. But the main thing is that it's been I always saw the pandemic as a great opportunity rather than a negative. I mean, obviously, we all had to stay safe. We all had to stay alive. And I'm glad that everyone is, in fine fettle. We lost a few people, Mike Lopez, of course, and our dear friend Mira Furlan. But oddly enough, neither of those were to COVID. Mira was West Nile virus and Mike was cancer. So, but all through it, we've maintained this community of the table, and also we maintain. We shot a bonus episode of Space Command during the pandemic with the actors shooting their own scenes with their own cameras, which was really, really fun and cool. And so we're moving along, and I'm grateful to all of you for all of your help and all of your inspiration. So that's sort of the main stuff. It's good to see all of your shining faces and broken out faces in one case. And no, you don't have to cover it. Your image is very small, Mark. We can't tell. You look as lovely and vibrant as ever. So anyway, so that's it for now. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, and we will be here next week because that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. And and if you ever want to find out about how one acquires incredible science fiction stuff to make incredible science fiction shows, just feel free to call me, because it's really, the lesson I learned, the reason I do it this way is because I wrote the Twilight Zone companion, and Rod shot Twilight Zone at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, which was the greatest film studio of all time. And it had and Rod said, can I utilize the sets and costumes and props and backlot? And they said yes. And so he had access to everything ever made for any MGM production. So you see, he really scavenged Forbidden Planet. So Robbie the Robot is there, the uniforms are there, the futuristic car, the spaceship, the all of it, and tons of other stuff. And so when I was a producer on Sliders, I asked that very same question at Universal. No one ever asked that question. And they said, well, we'll have to check. And they came back and said, yeah, with a few exceptions, yes. So we were using stuff from 12 Monkeys and Jurassic Park and Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and on and on. It was fabulous. And Time Cop, they, rather than tearing down those sets, they let us use them. And so for Space Command, I knew that there were just a staggering things that would be offered at auctions or the prop store or various other places. And so I just kind of keep an eye out on eBay and so forth. And I've been able to acquire all these amazing things that add production value to what we're doing. So we're building sets from scratch, but we're also adding to them with these amazing, wonderful pieces. And it's really great fun.
When you use the Time Cop set
yes.
on Sliders,
yes.
Did the breakdown then become your budgetary responsibility?
What do you mean the breakdown? You mean the? No,
yeah,
we got
when you were done with the set.
No, because we were on the Universal lot, so we got $500,000 worth of sets for free. They see, because their standing sets were right next to our standing sets on the next soundstage over, and I'd heard that they were being canceled. This was the TV show, so I went on that set, and it was astonishing stuff. And I'd never even seen Time Cop, interestingly enough, but I immediately thought of a Sliders episode called Slide Cage that would utilize those sets as a prison on an Earth that had a methane atmosphere, and so it was a prison that no one could escape from. And that actually became the seed of Fugitive Space, which was a script I've more recently written that we're going to be doing as a TV show. But I just love reimagining and reutilizing all of this cool stuff. And of course, Star Trek did that to a fairly well, and many great shows have. I mean, Outer Limits. It's funny, as I get deeper and deeper into this stuff, for instance, the space suit from Death Ship, which is a great Richard Matheson hour-long Twilight Zone episode, the spacesuit from that, which I now own, was also used in Outer Limits, was originally made for Men into Space with William Lundigan, Lucy and Bob Hope wore it at various points. So it's amazing when you start tracking the history of these things. And I mean, for instance, the salvage suit I have from Aliens was originally made for Outland and then redressed for Aliens. So so it's super fun stuff. And it's It's really lovely and
I'm
really.
gonna have to leave now.
Okay, bye. Well, yeah, enough.
We
Yeah,
should probably
no, I
finish.
understand. I'll stop now. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. We're on next Thursday, and thank you, Mr. Sci-Fi fans, and stay well, stay safe, stay happy. Bye, guys.
I might see.
Okay, hold on. End stream. There you go.